Have you ever covered a carpet stain with a rug? Ignored a leaky faucet? Pretended your half-painted living room is supposed to look that way? Well, you're not alone. We've all got unfinished home projects. Whether it's a door that sticks, or a disorganized closet, or an AC unit that only works half the time. It all matters. You just haven't taken care of it yet. But there's an easier way. Just download the Thumbtack app. You can search for what you need done and find tons of highly rated pros right in your neighborhood. Check prices, reviews, and book a pro right on the spot. Plus, you'll know what to tackle next, because Thumbtack is the app that shows you what to do, who to hire, and when. Pull out your phone and in just a few taps, say goodbye to all those unfinished home projects and say hello to caring for your home the easier way. Download Thumbtack and start a project today.
Worried about letting someone else pick out the perfect avocado for your perfect impress them on the third date guacamole? Well, good thing Instacart shoppers are as picky as you are. They find ripe avocados like it's their guac on the line. They are milk expiration date detectives. They bag eggs like the 12 precious pieces of cargo they are. So let Instacart shoppers overthink your groceries so that you can overthink what you'll wear on that third date. Download the Instacart app to get free delivery on your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 per order. Additional terms apply.
Save on Cox Internet when you add Cox Mobile and get fiber-powered internet at home and unbeatable 5G reliability on the go. So whether you're playing a game at home,
yes, goal,
or attending one live, you can do more without spending more. Learn how to save at cox.com/internet. Cox Internet is connected to the premises via coaxial cable. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. 2H 2023. Results may vary, not an endorsement. Other restrictions apply.
Happy to be joined on the IHOP hotline by Barry Tramel, long-time sports journalist in Oklahoma, specifically in the Norman, Oklahoma City area. Currently, he's with Sellout Crowd. You can read his work, selloutcrowd.com. Barry, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great, Bob. How's Wichita?
Oh, it doesn't change very quickly, but we're hanging in there. We were able to see the Oklahoma City Thunder win a playoff game last night as the 1 seed in the West. Amazing season for Oklahoma City. But, boy, they kind of skirted with difficulty last night. They pulled it out against New Orleans by 2 points. What were your thoughts about the Thunder? Mine were that the moment was pretty big, and they were fortunate to get out with a win.
Well, yeah, they didn't shoot very well at all. And they, they sort of tightened up. They gave up a ton of offensive rebounds, which they do a lot, but they didn't make up for it with a big advantage in takeaways. So that's where they account for the rebound discrepancy. So they didn't play very good, but they did find a way to win. It would have been a tough one to lose. I don't know that New Orleans can win the series, but it sure was going to be a lot more interesting if the Pelicans went one up. But game really came down to both teams just missed a ton of shots, 3-pointers. The people who missed for the Thunder are generally better shooters than the people who missed for the Pelicans. So you sort of figure the Thunder might right that ship. Without Zion Williamson, it doesn't look like to me that New Orleans has enough offense to win this series. But they got a tough team, and they certainly put up a good fight last night.
Yeah, I'm with you. Even though it was a struggle last night without Zion, I don't think New Orleans probably has enough. So is that good for Oklahoma City to have maybe you don't want to ever say easy in the playoffs, but not as much of a challenge as it's going to be in the second and third rounds? Is it better for them to have a relative ease into the postseason?
Yeah, and you know what? A couple of things. One is by Sunday night, last night, we'd had 7 playoff games, and we'd really had what amounted to 6 blowouts and one pretty close game. Knicks Sixers was really good on Saturday. The rest of the games just got out of hand, and that is rare. What we've seen this weekend is not the norm. The playoffs usually tighten up. Even the worst teams in the playoffs usually put up a pretty good fight. The all 8 home teams won first game one. That's the first time that's happened on opening weekend in 11 years, I think. So what we've seen is a little abnormal, and by 8:30 last night, we'd seen so many blowouts, we thought, well, here comes another one. But the Thunder game was actually closer to the mean. It's been a lot of really great Thunder teams that have opened the playoffs with tough games against what appeared to be inferior opponents on paper. Often Memphis gave the Thunder fits, sometimes Dallas, whoever. Just, the playoffs are not easy. So I think the Thunder can sort of stay fortified that they're going to be okay. It's just not going to be as easy as everybody thinks it is.
Talking with Barry Tramel. He is a columnist for Sellout Crowd, selloutcrowd.com. So I haven't done a deep dive on the ages of NBA teams, but this is absolutely crazy how young this Thunder group is. They could almost be a veteran college team. That's how young this roster is. How has that benefited this team? And they're already the number 1 seed in the West. What's the ceiling here?
Well, the long-term ceiling's really high because they are when they went to the NBA Finals in 12, they were really young. I think they started, they started 2 23-year-olds and 2 22-year-olds. But the one thing about that team, it wasn't particularly deep back then, and this team is deep. So the Thunder comes at you with a 1-2 combo of fresh legs, and that they're young and they play a lot of guys. A team like New Orleans, it's got some young guys, but it's got some veterans also, and it's not very deep. They're playing 8 guys. So the Thunder tends to wear you down. Playoffs get slower, so some longer timeouts, so depth doesn't have to be as important, but certainly the Thunder's going to have the depth edge for most of these playoffs, ever how far they might happen to go.
So is there any surprise to the fact that Oklahoma City is this good? I know that was the plan, but they only have, I think, one of their own top 5 picks on the roster, maybe one top 5 pick at all, which is Chet Holmgren, and obviously he's a big piece, but, it really speaks to how good the organization is more than anything, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're way ahead of schedule. Nobody saw 57 wins, number 1 seed. Nobody saw that coming. I mean, the great 16 team with Durant and Westbrook that went Game 7 with the Warriors. I mean, that team won 55 games. 57's a lot of wins. And, yeah, with, Josh Giddey still 21, Holmgren 20, Santa Clara Williams 23, SGA still 25. So they're playing a 20-year-old rookie in Cason Wallace. So they're still very young. They've got a lot ahead of them. But the future, you never know, what the future is in the NBA. Things change very quickly. You can't bank on the future. So I think they are in win now mode in terms of, selling out to win. That doesn't mean they're going to sell out the roster. Not going to make trades that could compromise the future. But the best way to win an NBA title is have a lot of cracks at the apple, but make the most of each crack. So that's what they're doing now. Nobody thought they would be this good. Nobody thought they could be a contender this year. But they are, and we'll see what happens.
Talking with Barry Tramel from selloutcrowd.com, longtime journalist in Oklahoma City and Norman. So the Western Conference is loaded. We could have an amazing series coming up between Minnesota and Denver if both of those teams go on and win their current series. The winner of the series between Oklahoma City and New Orleans will face the winner of the Clippers Mavericks. Is that a better path to get to the finals than maybe that other bracket?
Yeah, I mean, you want to avoid Denver. Everything else is just sort of details. Denver's the favorite. They got Jokic. He's a total load. Nobody knows what to do with him. So you want to avoid the Nuggets if deep playoff run. If all you care about is the championship, well then who cares? You're going to have to beat Denver at some point. But if you're a team that hasn't had a lot of recent playoff success, like a Minnesota, like a Thunder, even the Clippers, who have made one conference final in their history, like a Dallas, which is made one conference final since its NBA championship 13 years ago. A deep playoff run is good. It's good for morale. It's good for marketing. It's good for future confidence of a team. So, best way to make a conference final in the West is avoid Denver as long as possible. And the Thunder did that by winning the West. It looked like the Thunder was going to be 3 with Denver 2. Instead, that all moved around, and it's a lot better now that you're on the opposite side of Denver.
So what is I'll switch gears. What is Oklahoma football looking like? Obviously, first year in the SEC. How did their spring go? What may they still be looking to address in the portal?
Well, they need linemen of all kinds. They are not set in the lines at all. They need, by their standards, they're way behind in the offensive line, somewhat behind in the defensive line. And they got to do something about that. This portal, the portal after spring practice is not as bountiful as the portal you see in December. So I don't know how they can address it. It sounds like they may have gotten a center from SMU in recent days. That's probably going to help. But you don't want to be going into the SEC when you are a little thin on the lines. That's not ideal at all. So that's a concern. We'll see if they can address it. The truth is, OU's roster has been on a gradual decline for the last really 6 or 7 years, really since Bob Stoops left. Every team from Bob retired in June of 17. That 2017 team that Lincoln Riley inherited was the best Oklahoma team of the last 16 years. It was loaded. That's the team that lost to Georgia in double overtime in the semifinals, Rose Bowl. Every year since 17, they've gotten just a little bit worse until last season. And Brent Venables, he had a pretty good dip for his first year, but took a nice step up last season. Can he do that again? He needs to, going into the SEC, and he's going to need some line help. They're probably pretty good, probably going to be fine out everywhere other than that. But man, can't go to the SEC short of linemen.
Final moments here with Barry Tramel from selloutcrowd.com. So you've been doing this a long time, so I'm interested in your perspective. The Thunder have been there a long time, of course, and that changed kind of everything in that market. How much are you enjoying having the NBA in that market? Because you were so heavy into OU and Oklahoma State, just the diversity of that. And then how much are you looking forward to this new chapter for OU in the SEC?
Well, concerning the Thunder's been great. The NBA is about an 11-month calendar. August is pretty light in news, and maybe September. Maybe you count 10. Maybe I'm so busy in September I don't notice. So it's a 10-month sport, and it gets you through 2/3 of the summer with the draft and summer league and free agency and all kinds of stuff going on. So it really helps you with more things to write about, more things to talk about, more stuff going on. And that's just great. Now college sports is the same way. You remember as well as I do, Bob, that, the dog days of summer used to be not much going on in college. Now you still got portal stuff. Heck, you always have conference realignment. There's always scandals, always something going on. But the NBA has provided a lot of content for sports fans, and that's great. I was born in Oklahoma, raised in Oklahoma. I live about 4 miles from my boyhood home, where I live today. My entire family, my brothers, my wife's siblings, all within 10 miles of where I live. So I was never going to go anywhere, but I always thought, it'd been cool if I could have worked in a pro market. Well, then lo and behold, the pro market comes to me. So, last night we had a great NBA game. You had 8 playoff games on the first weekend, and 6 were duds. Knicks Sixers was a pretty good game. Thunder and Pelicans went down to the wire. So we had, probably the marquee game of the first weekend, and that's right there in Oklahoma City. So that's a wonderful thing. So that's been a blessing to my career. I think it's a blessing to the entire state of Oklahoma. As far as the SEC, I am bittersweet. I'm not going to sit here and tell anybody it's not going to be cool to go to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, or Athens, Georgia, or Gainesville, Florida, or Knoxville, Tennessee. Going to go to a football game at Oxford, Mississippi for the first time ever. So lots of intrigue, lots of interest. That's going to be great. On the other hand, it cuts in half the times I get to go to Manhattan or Ames or Lubbock. And I love going to Manhattan. I love going to Ames. I love going to Lubbock. Those are places I know well and people I know well. And I'm sort of torn on the whole alignment. I think it is, it's a little bit like somebody leaving home, at the age of 21 or 18 or whenever you might leave home. You're going to see a lot of cool stuff, but you're going to miss what you're leaving behind. So I'm a little bit torn on it. I think OU will be torn on it. Probably would never admit it, but I think they're going to miss aspects of the Big 8 and Big 12. And I'm not even talking about just the winning part, but I think the people of the Big 8/Big 12 are more like most Oklahomans than the southeastern part of the country, and I think it's going to be a cultural adjustment for them. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. All right, Barry. We always appreciate your insight. Thank you very much, and we'll reach out to you as football season approaches. Okay.
All right, great, Bob. Good to talk to you.
Save on Cox Internet when you add Cox Mobile and get fiber-powered internet at home and unbeatable 5G reliability on the go. So whether you're playing a game at home,
yes, cool,
or attending one live, you can do more without spending more. Learn how to save at cox.com/internet. Cox Internet is connected to the premises via coaxial cable. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. 2H 2023. Results may vary, not an endorsement. Other restrictions apply.
T-Mobile has invested billions to light up America's largest 5G network, from big cities to small towns, including right here in yours. And great coverage is just the beginning. Right now, families and small businesses can save up to 20% versus AT&T and Verizon when they switch. Visit your local T-Mobile store today.
Plan savings with 3 lines of T-Mobile Essentials versus comparable available plans. Plan features and taxes and fees may vary.
Everybody knows it. Toyota trucks are the stuff of legends. Rugged, durable, everlasting. Toyota makes trucks that just don't quit. And now Toyota is driving that legacy toward the future with 2 of their most powerful trucks ever, the new Tundra and the all-new Tacoma. In a half-ton Tundra, you can rule the roads. From the comfort of a spacious cabin with connected tech and plenty of hauling power, the Tundra is ready to work hard and play even harder. Or check out the all-new 24 Tacoma, redesigned and electrified to maximize your adventure. With a bevy of available off-road driving and power transfer modes, you will effortlessly crush the conditions. And with the Tacoma's reimagined interior, you'll do it in style. And right now, your local Toyota dealer has more vehicles in stock and is making delivery on new vehicles almost every day. So don't wait. Buy a Tundra or Tacoma today. Visit buyatoyota.com for deals and more. Toyota, let's go places.